We're going to go over how to read the rod when you're doing auto leveling. And so here we have an example of what the rod will look like, and then we have the example of what it will look like when you are sighting in the rod from the auto level. And so the first thing to understand is that these large numbers right here, and this one's example is easy to see because it has the foot designation by it, but these are always in feet, and so sometimes there'll be a large number and sometimes it will be a smaller number, but it is typically red. And so this designation here is always going to be the whole number in feet. So depending on what type of rod or who the manufacturer, what you're looking at, it could look a little bit different. Some of them are large red numbers. The other designations we need to know are these black numbers right here. These are tenths of a foot. So any of these black numbers here represent tenths of a foot. And so we'll go ahead and write that. All right, so that takes care of those lines mean different things when the crosshair or one of the stadia lines are on it. And so these lines with this angle right here, that lets you know that you're at exactly a tenth of a foot. And so if I were to go ahead and designate this one, and I'm just going to draw a call out line out here, it's exactly a tenth of a foot. So I'm going to put the top of the major tick lines. The top of the major tick lines are exactly a tenth of a foot. And so in this case, it would be 10.6 feet if we were measuring to the top of that tick line. All right. Now, the other lines over here, if we look at these, the bottom of the lines are odd hundredths. They're odd hundredths. The top, if it falls on the top of the line, it is an even hundredths. Okay. And so if you go through and count that, like let's say we're at 10 feet, this would be 10.5 feet. 50 feet, 10.50. This would be 10.51. This would be 10.52, 10.53, 10.54, 10.55, 10.56, 10.57, 10.58, 10.59, 10.60. And so that's how you read the rod. If we want to take a rod reading here, so let's go ahead and write down what the rod reading is. The rod reading here is the one that is on the crosshairs. And so I'm going to try to draw a line up here to annotate that this is the rod reading so we can remember. So we know we're at 10 feet, so I'm going to write 10 point. If we look at the rod, it's past 5, and so I'm going to count 10.51. So I'll write 10.5. Here's 10.51, 10.52, 10.53. It's at the top, so I'll write 10.54 feet for the rod reading. Let's go ahead and read the upper stadia line. So the upper is at, again, 10 point. This time we're past 10.6 because we're reading this line right here. So I'll go ahead and make my arrow. So it's 10.6 something, 10.61. It's at the top, so it's 10.62. The lower stadia, which is this one right here, is 10.4. Here's where 10.4 starts. 10.41. Let's go ahead and write 10.4. 10.41, 10.42, 10.43, 10.44, 10.45. And you notice how there's a reverse angled on that? That lets you know that that's always 5/100ths. Alright, so there's how you read the rod, and so you'll be able to read that when you go out and do your surveying.